In this moment, I'm euphoric. Not because of some phony game company's blessing, but because I am enlightened by Capcom's intelligence when creating Street Fighter 6. This is what all AAA games should be. For $60, you get a split-screen mode, a multiplayer mode, and a campaign that will make you say, eh. But it is engaging enough to entice new players to learn some of the skills that they need to have before they get thrown to the wolves online. If you don't like getting eaten alive online, that's perfect. There's enough content here between split screen and the campaign to get a full $60 worth of your game. Don't like the split screen because you don't have any friends? You can make some online because this game plays so buttery smooth, no one's ever going to argue about lag. And you can beat noobs on any console because of Capcom's crossplay. Well, except Switch. But if you don't like any of the multiplayers because you don't have friends and you're not good enough, well, then the campaign isn't really worth a full $60. See, the campaign is actually the newest feature to Street Fighter. For those of you that aren't 27, you may not even know what a campaign is. With so many games now evolved into multiplayer experiences, and with most of those experiences becoming a grind to get items that you actually want to use, and you have to lose so many times back to back in order to learn how to get good enough to even start having fun. It wasn't always like this. See, there used to be a main part of the game called the campaign. And then later developers would tack on a split screen mode at the very end so that parents who had more than one children could buy a game for one of their kids, both could play, and they wouldn't kill each other. As post-history America grew up, parents stopped being able to afford having multiple children and started to remove split screen from games. With split screen gone, players needed online modes to get the most out of their purchases, and the new focus on online modes resulted in campaigns becoming an afterthought. And certainly not because companies realized you can't squeeze out microtransactions and battle passes from single player campaigns. It is certainly not capitalism's fault. And it's not even like the old Street Fighter games didn't have a single player. They did. It was just a campaign that was indistinguishable in gameplay from the multiplayer. So this time around, you get access to a free roam, semi-open world, just like in Yakuza. And I am happy to say that you can punch just about anyone walking by on the street, and then proceed to beat the absolute piss out of them. The story isn't much to talk about at all. It's mainly just a reason to string semi-cool cutscenes together. But one thing I really appreciate about it is that you actually have to lose fights in this story. I love this mechanic because nothing really feels worse than losing a fight, and this teaches new players that it's okay to lose. It's okay to try again. You're not going to beat everybody. And at the same time, nothing feels weirder than to watch your main character absolutely kick a boss's ass and then have a cutscene happen where he beats the shit out of you. That's so unrewarding. Street Fighter 6 actually has the opposite problem, where it doesn't reward players for winning, like Sekiro does with its unique cutscene. But it's a simple choice to have the player lose that really reinforces the idea of patience when learning, even if you are getting beaten down repeatedly. But when that happens, again, you can go back to the campaign and it will have challenges in its missions that will teach you how to be the better fighter. Things like landing air attacks and segueing into ground combos. Real key stuff that a new player is not going to learn on their own. My only gripe is that there's really no other systems to play with. There's a skill tree system that I kind of like, but there's no mini games. There's a clothing system, but it's super bare bones. There's no nothing really. It's a super barren open world. I don't think it's another one of the situations where it could have been a menu, like in Fire Emblem Three Houses and whatever that new one was called, solely because you can get into random fights on the street. But they could have put something in here, even like a home run contest, anything from the other like Smash Bros series of trials. A person wants to play the Yakuza campaign because it has a good story and a heartthrob character. Street Fighter 6's story only has the heartthrob, the rest isn't even there. The base of Street Fighter 6 is literally the best 2D fighter I've ever played. It's also the most confusing fighter I've ever played. All fighting games have at least a health bar that you have to watch. Some games even have fighters that build up other bars that they have to maintain to launch special attacks. But I have never ever played a fighting game before with 3 separate meters to watch all at once. And if that sounds confusing, then it is extremely confusing. Thank God for the modern control system. It removes the complicated combos for moves like Hadouken and spinning bird attack, or whatever that thing Blanca does. And you might ask if these new simplified controls make up for the fact that you have so much to manage. Well, not really. The new control scheme isn't good enough to make you a god. Players with classic controls can absolutely beat any player with modern controls. It's just another example of Capcom removing the barrier of entry for fun. The one thing that you will need to learn how to do is use the various different characters. In other fighting games with huge rosters, you'll often get characters that play exactly the damn same. Even Street Fighter was guilty with this. Ken is just a clone of Ryu. But goddamn, for the most part, everyone plays completely different in this game. Taoism plays like a fire-breathing cloud. Beating someone down with Marzia feels like you're controlling Amanda Nunes as she gives a child CTE. Lucio plays exactly like Lucio. And Juri plays like those sexy robots from Atomic Bomb, but better because she's an actual person with a face and personality. Cammy is the woman I'd love to kill me. And E-Honda handles like a Honda Odyssey that can slap a hole in a wall. All of this is to say that each character plays different enough you'll want to try them all. It's insane how well everything in this game is designed. I mean, even the menus function very well, very smooth. And most importantly, it's fun to play and will give you more than 60 hours of content for your $60 game, especially if you're lucky enough to have friends to play local co-op with. With the Game Standard here at Tibbs TV, I'm Jonathan Rosenblum.